Tonight, something in you may feel the air change. The moon enters Pisces on August 27th, and tomorrow, the lunar eclipse arrives on August 28th. But right now, in this in-between hour, you might be doing something you don't even realize you're doing. You might be waiting to feel calm before you move, waiting for one more sign before you decide, waiting to feel ready before you let yourself change. Here's what almost no one tells you: that waiting feels responsible, but it might be the very thing standing between you and what's about to open. There's a door in front of you tonight, and something small may happen in the next 24 hours that tells you whether you walked through it or just stood there, admiring it. Before we go further, if this is landing, take a second and subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you feel yourself waiting tonight. As this threshold opens, you may notice life quietly sorting people into two rooms. In one room are those who feel the pull tonight, restless, unsettled, aware something is ending. And instead of waiting for that feeling to pass, they lean into it. They don't feel ready. They move anyway. In the other room are those who feel that exact same pull and decide it means not yet. They tell themselves they need one more sign, one more good night's sleep, one more sense of certainty before they'll let anything shift. You may have already lived both rooms in the same week. The night you almost sent the text, almost booked the ticket, almost said the true thing, and then didn't, because it didn't feel like the right moment yet. And the other night, the one where you did the thing scared, unsure, hands shaking, and something opened because of it. Which one are you tonight? The eclipse tomorrow doesn't check who feels prepared. It simply arrives. And the honest question isn't, am I ready? It's, will I move before I feel ready or only after? Because here's the split. One room walks through the door unfinished and gets shaped by what's on the other side. The other room keeps waiting outside a door that was never going to knock first. This habit of needing to feel ready before you move didn't appear randomly. Somewhere, it made sense. Maybe there was a version of you who moved too fast once, said yes before thinking, trusted someone too soon, made a big decision on a feeling, and it went badly. So, a quieter, more careful voice stepped in and made you a promise. Never again will we leap without being sure. That voice wasn't lying to you. It was protecting you. It built a checkpoint at every doorway of your life. A little internal guard that asks, do you feel calm? Do you feel certain? Do you feel steady? And only waves you through when the answer is yes. The problem is, that guard was built for danger. It was never built for growth. And growth, almost by definition, never feels calm, certain, or steady in advance. It feels like static. It feels like standing at a door with your heart pounding and no proof waiting on the other side. You might recognize this pattern in small ways. The job you didn't apply for because you wanted to feel qualified enough first. As if qualification arrives before the job, not because of it. The relationship conversation you kept postponing because you wanted to feel less nervous first. As if the nervousness was ever going to leave on its own. The dream you keep circling, telling yourself you'll start once things settle down. As if life has ever once, for anyone, fully settled down before it asks something of them. Here's the reframe. That guard at the door isn't broken, it's just old. It was built by a younger version of you who needed proof before trust. But proof was never going to come first. It only ever shows up after you've already walked through, as the result of moving, not the requirement for it. You don't lose the checkpoint by silencing it. You lose it by proving once that you can survive walking past it. This threshold doesn't just live inside you. It shows up in how the people around you seem to be behaving too, and it may look like loss at first. You might notice someone who used to wait with you at every doorway, someone who matched your hesitation, your careful pace, your let's think about it more energy. Suddenly pull ahead, or pull away entirely. It may look, at first glance, like they left you behind. It may feel like betrayal, or like they simply stopped caring whether you kept up. But watch closer, because there are usually three kinds of people showing up around a threshold like this. There's the one who was only ever comfortable with you outside the door, who liked you hesitant, who liked you asking their permission before you moved, and who quietly resists you the moment you stop waiting. There's the one who's crossing their own threshold right now, at the exact same time as you, and simply doesn't have the bandwidth to hold your hand through yours. Not because they've abandoned you, but because they're mid-transformation themselves. And then there's the one who's already on the other side, who crossed a door like this months or years ago, and who, if you let them, might actually be able to walk you through yours. The apparent loss of the first kind of person isn't punishment, it's clarification. Someone who only loved the version of you that stood still was never going to survive the version of you who walks through doors. Losing their comfort with you isn't the eclipse taking something away. It's the eclipse showing you who was only ever holding the door shut. You may feel this most sharply with someone close. A friend who suddenly feels distant, a family member whose voice in your head grows quieter, a partner who seems unsettled by a change they can't quite name in you. Let it happen without rushing to explain yourself or apologize for growing. Not everyone standing at your old door is meant to follow you through the new one. The people who only loved you waiting were never loving all of you, just the part of you that stayed small enough to stand still with them. Here's what this threshold might actually feel like from the inside, and it's not peaceful. It's closer to standing in a doorway with wind coming from both directions at once. Imagine an airlock, that small chamber between two pressurized spaces, the one astronauts pass through before stepping outside. For a moment, inside that airlock, neither door is open. You're not in the old room anymore, and you're not yet in the new one either. The pressure equalizes slowly, uncomfortably, and there's a stretch of time where you're simply suspended, sealed in, breathing recycled air, waiting for a door that hasn't opened yet. You might be living in that airlock right now. The old identity, the old comfort, the old certainty about who you are, that door has already sealed shut behind you, whether you consciously chose it or not. And the new door, the one leading to whatever this eclipse is opening, hasn't swung open yet either. So you're left in the in-between, untethered, a little dizzy, maybe even a little afraid, because nothing here feels solid enough to stand on. This shows up as three distinct sensations, and you may recognize all three. A strange flatness, where things that used to excite you suddenly feel muted, like you're waiting for permission to care about them again. A low static of anxiety that has no clear source. Nothing is technically wrong, and yet your chest feels tight anyway. And a quiet grief for a version of yourself you can't quite name. A mourning for the person you were before you knew what you know now, even though you wouldn't trade that knowing back. Here's the pattern interrupt. You might assume this discomfort means something has gone wrong. It hasn't. An airlock isn't a malfunction. It's the only way between two pressurized spaces. You cannot skip it, and you cannot rush it by banging on either door. The discomfort isn't evidence that you took a wrong turn. It's evidence that you're exactly where the process requires you to be. Reframe it like this: you are not lost in the airlock. You are in transit. The flatness, the static, the unnamed grief, none of it is permanent. It's simply what pressure equalizing feels like from the inside before the second door finally opens and lets you exhale. The suffocating feeling in between two doors isn't proof you're stuck. It's proof you're finally moving. And now, it's time for today's comment of the day. This one comes from a viewer who wrote, "I'm gonna set my path into motion. It's been a while, but God is blessing me to start my journey." I love this one so much because it captures exactly what tonight is about. Notice the language. Set my path into motion. Not wait until I feel ready, not start once things settle. Just motion. A decision to move, even after time has passed, even without every piece in place. That's the doorway we've been talking about, walked through in real time by someone in this very community. If that's you tonight, if it's been a while and something in you is finally ready to move even without total certainty, I want to hear about it. Leave a comment below and tell me what threshold you're standing at right now. I'll be reading, and I'm going to feature the best comment in my next video. Thank you for sharing this. So, what does this actually look like in your real life over the next few days? Let's make it concrete. Think of tonight and tomorrow like a customs checkpoint, the kind you pass through at an airport, where an official looks at what you're carrying and decides what crosses the border with you and what gets left behind. You are, quite literally, about to pass through one of these, and the eclipse is asking you to look honestly at what's in your bags. Watch for 3 things over the next 48 to 72 hours. First, a conversation you've been avoiding may suddenly demand to happen. A text you finally send, a boundary you finally state, a truth you finally say out loud instead of rehearsing it in the shower for the 10th time. Don't wait for it to feel comfortable. Comfortable was never the requirement. Second, an old habit or routine may suddenly feel unbearable in a way it didn't last week. The scroll that used to numb you might feel hollow now. The small talk that used to feel safe might feel suffocating. That's not you becoming harder to please. That's the checkpoint flagging what you can't carry across with you anymore. Third, you may feel a pull towards something that seems too small to matter. Signing up for the class, making the call, writing the first paragraph. And I want you to take it seriously anyway, because thresholds rarely announce themselves with fireworks. They usually show up disguised as something you could easily talk yourself out of doing. Here's the practical instruction. Don't wait for the eclipse itself, tomorrow, to be the moment you act. The customs checkpoint is open right now tonight, while the moon sits in Pisces, softening your defenses just enough to let you see clearly what you've been carrying. Use tonight to set something down. Use tonight to say the thing. Use tonight to take the small, unglamorous step that doesn't feel like a movie moment, but is in fact the entire movie. You don't need to feel emotionally resolved to do this. You don't need the anxiety to disappear first, or the doubt to fully quiet down. You simply need to act with the doubt still in the room. You don't get cleared through customs by feeling ready. You get cleared by declaring what you're carrying and choosing to walk through anyway. Here's the layer almost no one sees coming, and it might reframe everything you think you know about readiness. You may believe the test tonight is whether you're brave enough to walk through the door. it isn't. The real test is quieter than that, and far sneakier. It's whether you can tell the difference between genuine discernment and disguised fear, because they can feel almost identical in the body. Real discernment says, "This isn't the right door." Disguised fear says, "I need to feel more sure before I try any door at all," and then never actually names a reason, because there isn't one. It just keeps asking for more time. Real discernment is specific. Disguised fear is a fog that never clears, no matter how long you stand in it, because clearing was never its actual goal. Stalling was. You might be doing this in ways so small they've become invisible to you. You tell yourself you're still deciding about the friendship that's clearly run its course, when really you've known the answer for months. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right time to pursue the thing you actually want, when really no time has ever felt fully right, for you or for anyone, ever. You tell yourself you're being thoughtful about the boundary you need to set with someone you love, when really you're just afraid of what happens the moment you stop being agreeable. Here's the hidden trap. Waiting can disguise itself as wisdom so well that you can spend years mistaking your fear for patience. And the eclipse tomorrow isn't interested in whether you eventually get honest about that. It moves on schedule, whether you've sorted out the disguise or not. So the deeper question isn't, "Am I ready?" It's braver than that. Am I willing to admit that I've been calling my fear something more respectable? And to walk through the door anyway, even while I'm still a little unsure which one it actually was. Most people don't stay stuck because they lack courage. They stay stuck because their fear learned to speak in the voice of their wisdom. Now here's the part I actually want you to sit with, because this is the payoff underneath everything we've walked through tonight. Imagine, for a moment, that you stop waiting for the feeling of readiness to arrive first. Imagine you walk through tonight exactly as you are, unfinished, uncertain, a little shaky, and something on the other side of that door meets you halfway, simply because you showed up. Imagine the relationship you finally speak the truth in, still imperfect, but suddenly real for the first time in years. Imagine the version of your work, your art, your calling, that finally exists in the world. Not because you became someone flawless enough to make it, but because you stopped waiting to become that person before you started. Here's the central reframe of everything we've covered tonight. The thing you feared, that you'd walk through unprepared and it would go badly, was never the actual risk. The actual risk was staying in the doorway so long that the room stopped waiting for you. Certainty was never going to knock on your door and hand itself to you before you moved. It was only ever going to be built, brick by brick, out of the steps you took without it. Every person who ever looks ready from the outside is simply someone who walked through enough doors unprepared that it stopped being visible on them. You are allowed to be a beginner again tonight. You are allowed to feel your hands shake and go anyway. You are allowed to not have this figured out and still take the next right step, because clarity was never the ticket in. It was always the reward for buying one. Readiness isn't the price of admission. It's the receipt you get on your way out. You don't walk through the door because you're ready. You become ready because you walked through the door. If you've stayed with me until this point, thank you for giving this message your time and attention. Here's the one line to carry with you as the moon enters Pisces on August 27th and the lunar eclipse arrives on August 28th. You were never meant to feel ready before you crossed the threshold. You were only ever meant to cross it and let readiness catch up to you on the other side. I know it's tempting to want one more sign, one more calm morning, one more sense of certainty before you let yourself move. But the door you've been standing at all this time isn't waiting for your hesitation to end. It's simply open, and it has been the whole time. So tonight, if there's a conversation you've been circling, a decision you've been postponing, a version of yourself you've been rehearsing instead of becoming, let this be the moment you stop waiting outside your own life and step inside it, unfinished and all. My philosophy has always been simple. You don't have to feel whole to begin. You only have to begin, and let the beginning make you whole. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.